Welcome along, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Without further ado, I would very much like to welcome our cast and filmmakers this morning. Please put your hands together and welcome to the press conference Director Joe Wright, playing Peter Pan, Levi Miller, the one they call Blackbeard, Mr. Hugh Jackman, the wonderful Rooney Mara, Tiger Lily, Hook himself, Guy Headland, and producer, Paul Webster. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Garrett, welcome along this morning. What a wonderful character. It very much looked like you had a lot of fun playing. There's an amazing tone to your character in terms of both physically and kind of mentally. There's a little bit of slapstick in there, the way he kind of throws himself around. Was it a lot of fun to throw yourself into that?
It was. Yeah, he can be quite uncoordinated at times. I think when we were first sort of doing rehearsals, I think we kind of laughed at this notion, and Joe was explaining, he's like, you know, when somebody's always trying to do the right thing, but they just can't help but mess it up, and how comedic that can end up being, and we always sort of loved that idea of it, and it had a lot to do with Hook, yeah.
Rooney, Tiger Lily, she's a girl that I think is a wonderful role model to young girls who are going to watch this film as well. She's fierce, she's feisty, she's honest, and she's loyal. What are the qualities that you really, admired in her, or admire in her?
Yeah, I mean, I was just happy to sort of be the girl in a film like this that isn't sort of a damsel in distress. You know, it was cool to get to play the female part who was sort of more capable and badass than the guys. I thought that was really, you rarely see that, and so that was really fun to get to play a character who's so capable.
And Hugh.
Hello.
Blackbeard.
Yes. Or as my son affectionately called, a black and white beard. Thanks. It was a real confidence builder as I went off to work. See a black and white beard?
There's good in him, you see. Maybe that's what he was trying to imply. He sees good in him.
Exactly.
How involved were you in the creation of him, you know, in the look and the mannerisms and all that kind of side of it?
When I was in early talks with Joe, my son happened to have a subscription to the Junior National Geographic, which had this section on Blackbeard, and I was like, oh, yes, done my research, this is great. And Blackbeard, I'm reading, it had this amazing story of how he used to stick incense inside his beard and light it on fire before a battle. So as he jumped onto your ship, it looked like his head was on fire. And I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. Joe, what do you think? Blah, blah, blah. And he goes, no. And Joe, when we first met, I said, well, what's your vision? He had a picture on his iPad of my face with kind of white cracked makeup on, like an old master's sort of painting, with the wig of Marie Antoinette and the costume of Louis XIV and all these rings, and I was just like, that's a much better idea. And I tell that story because I had a couple of ideas, but in truth, 90 to 95% was Joe, the hair and makeup department, the costume department, and their ideas were just so much better than mine. And I think most days, Joe, I thanked you for doing like 80% of my work as an actor, because you walk on set with that wig, that costume, and everyone's like, wow, and you're just standing there, you know?
Levi, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Let's please give him a round of applause. Can I take you back to that first day on set and kind of how you felt and what it was like after that first day?
Yes, my first day on set was with the water. It was in the water at Pinewood Studios, and I was completely submerged underwater in a harness. And I remember I had to equalize so I could get further down, and the further you got, there was a window, and you got further enough, and I could see everyone in there. It was pretty cool. It was a really fun day, but it was a hard first day on set, I think. It was quite hard.
I threw you in the deep end.
Joe, what a wonderful world you've created, and just gorgeous, gorgeous characters. It sounds like from everyone, the way that they talk is that you very much had a very clear vision about this film and how you wanted it made and how you saw each character. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, I think I try and leave myself open to kind of moments of discovery. But I do kind of have an idea of what I want it to be and look like, and then, because I get really scared, and so I want to have things kind of set, do you know what I mean, so I know what I'm doing. And really for me, a lot of directing is about peeling that away and allowing space for the surprising to happen.
Question for Hugh. Joe says in the press notes you are the nicest man in show business, and I think we all agree with that, anyone who's ever met you. But I wonder, when you get a role like this, what sort of villains have influenced you in literature and films growing up?
By the way, my mum was at the premiere yesterday, and she was asked, or told, I suppose, by a few people, said, "Oh, your son is known as the nicest guy in Hollywood." And she said, "I think we used to call that manners." He said, "We taught him manners, and if he doesn't, I'm going to smack him," you know. The Wicked Witch of the West was one that I thought of because it was the first movie I remember seeing, and I remember being terrified by that, but enthralled by that character. It's a big kind of character. It's one of the great performances, and those monkeys. So, in terms of, for me, Hannibal Lecter, Alan Rickman in Die Hard, they're sort of the villains that I remember sort of loving. But, you know, Joe, I'm not going to say, but when we talked, Joe said, you know, Neverland is a child's imagination, and all the adults, which is basically the pirates, have to be as kids see adults, which is frightening and ridiculous. So for you, Blackbeard, obviously there's bigger portions of frightening than ridiculous, but there still has to be some ridiculous in there, and go for it, you know. And so once you're operating from that world, we're in a child's imagination, which is not dissimilar to The Wizard of Oz, actually, then there's a freedom to play and have fun, and we did have a lot of fun, I think, yeah.
Which were your favourite moments individually to film? Which bits did you have the most fun filming with?
Who wants to pick that up for us?
Oh, I'll speak up. Joe's birthday in particular was a very fun day. Joe, you know, when we were shooting at these the stages, Cardington stages outside Bedford, there were these incredible sets for Neverland, and I think it's one of the biggest sets the UK's ever had. And we'd have 200 extras dressed up as the natives and the cast and crew, and Joe's quite the DJ, and every day, I mean, not just his birthday, but every day he would play music in between all the takes, and, you know, we're filming this story that's so full of youth and imagination, and here we are, the cast and crew, all dancing together, and sort of, no matter how old you were, get to feel like you're a kid again, and I think that was very necessary for this film. It was one of my favorite, you know, moments. I'd never experienced it before.
Can you remember the tune?
There was some ABBA in there.
There was a lot of Deanne's board as well.
No, there wasn't any ABBA.
There was a saying many years ago that all boys wanted to grow up to be engine drivers. I'm assuming that all actors grow up wanting to play a pirate. And is it the ultimate role for an actor? Because there's nowhere that you can go all the way with it. You know, there's nothing to hold you back.
Yeah, there's no rules, for sure. I mean, I do remember watching Scaramouche. I do remember at drama school, my 3 years of drama school, we had to do compulsory fencing classes. It was a kind of traditional school, and I loved it. I mean, some of the actors complained, and, oh, what's this, what's the point? I genuinely loved it, and in my final year, we had to do a movement piece, right, which we created, and I actually recreated Princess Bride, the classic sword fight, at the Ningle Montoya, you know, I have 5 fingers prepared to die, all of that. And so honestly, I said to Rooney when we started, and I said, oh, I can't wait for scene 85. It's like sort of like one massive...
Well, yeah, now I realize you've been training for it for years. And
years. So we did work it out, and then Joe said, I love this scene, let's put it up on the mast, you know, on the gymnastics beam, basically. That was hard. But yeah, being a pirate is, come on, it's a great, great, great joy. And to be honest, if Joe had asked me to play the street sweeper, I would have said yes. But to be in a Joe Wright film playing a pirate, that's a dream come true, yeah.
I literally heard when we were discussing who we should offer the role of Blackbeard to, and I said I'd really like to offer it to Hugh Jackman, and we had word coming back saying Hugh has always wanted to play a pirate. And I was like,
Yeah.
really?
What life event turned Blackbeard so nasty? And so, I wish, that there would be, maybe in the future, so maybe there is something in the backstory of this character that we don't know, that some clues that you can give us that can give us some idea of what made him so nasty. And the second part of my question would be for Joy, and it would be, are there any plans for maybe a prequel on Blackbird story?
Prequel of the prequel.
Yeah, prequel of the prequel.
She really liked your Blackbeard.
Which country are you from, by the way?
Italy, but I live in London.
Italy. Okay, so for the Italian market, we'll do the yes. No. Well, there's a few things in the script. I don't want to give away any spoilers in his background, particularly with Peter's mother, Mary. But this is the thing I love about Joe. As much as we were going for it, and long, big speeches and massive costumes, there's a beautiful scene in the middle with Peter, and Joe was like, let's really explore the loneliness, the sadness, the soulfulness of this character who's been around for a long time and is partly terrified of losing what he has worked hard to get, but also perhaps he might be relieved to actually be able to let it go. And I don't know, there's very few directors in a movie of this scale for a family audience who would allow an actor to go there, and I really, really love that, and I think that's the hallmark probably of Joe's work in making things a little complex. So the answer is yes, there's a whole lot of stuff in there. But as an actor, no matter whether you're playing a good or bad, you have to understand why they do what they do, and here's someone who's worked really, really hard to gain control. And a lot of people can relate to that of their life and are terrified of losing it, power, control, all of that stuff. So that's him.
There has been no discussion about a prequel to Blackbeard, but I like the idea very much.
Me too. Honestly, the hair and makeup department said, we can do a bald cap every day if you're like that. And I said, how long does that take? And they said 45 minutes. I said, give me the clippers. It was great, 45 minutes of sleep or a bald cap, and so that was great. And I don't know. I'm a big believer in sort of what Jay and Barry, and I think what this film is kind of trying to promote, which is that age or is more about how you feel about life than the chronological age, or whether you got a black and white beard or wrinkles. I think Jay and Barry were saying in the book, and by the way, I highly recommend reading that book if you haven't read it as an adult, because it's almost a cautionary tale of not losing that childlike sense of wonder and magic that is in the world. And actually, Joe and I were just talking how somewhere around the age of adolescence, we decide to be cool and to start looking at what other people think we should think about things or feel about things, and young kids don't have that, and that's the danger. That's what makes you start to grow old, but actually that sense of possibility and hope, which is what Pan is all about, what Neverland is about, which is really stay young in here, have that glint in your eye, see possibility, see hope. Life is an adventure, life can be fantastic, and that's sort of our choice really. And so the truth is I'm lucky, I'm an actor, my job is to be a kid, and I probably maturity-wise stopped around by the age of 8 or 9 somehow in there, and I'm happy to stay there.
Is it true that you bought members of the cast and crew lottery tickets on a regular basis while you were filming this movie? And if you did, was there much success? And did you buy them for yourself and have any joy?
Yeah, I did on Fridays. It's what we do in Australia to make sure the crew stay after lunch. I'm kidding. It's bad stereotype. They work very hard in Australia. But when I first started working on big American movies, it was uncomfortable for me how segregated everything was, because they were so massive, and I was used to the Australian, similar to making movies here, where there's no stand-ins, and so if they were lighting for an hour, you were standing with the crew for an hour and got to know everyone, and I sort of preferred that. There were no trailers, no one went off to their trailer, you just hung on set, and so I just realised halfway through my first movie there was a good half of the crew that I just never really came to contact with, and I didn't like that feeling, and so I invented this sort of, I suppose, tradition, and from that moment on, ADs called me in on Friday whether I was working or not somehow. and I think that in 15 years that I have found out that one guy won $1,500 That's by far the most anyone has ever won. So there's a moral to the story. If you're looking to get rich, don't buy a lot of scratchy tickets.